Hey guys, if we reach 1,000 likes, we'll be giving out 2 of our new shirts. All you gotta do is click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
What's up guys, I'm Faith and Moliminous. Welcome to another top 10, or as some people call it, why the hell is that in my recommended box? I don't even like this show. Kill me now.
Why are we still here?
We've done a lot of videos on shipping because shipping is such a big part of this fandom. It's so big, in fact, there are canon ships in the show, I know. And you know what? Let's go ahead and detail some of those. There are some that are kind of just heavily implied, and some that are in the works in the movies that haven't been fully realized, all kinds of stuff like that. So shipped and canon are kind of in quotation marks right now. As well, this is just my list. There are obviously more than 10, but these are the 10 that I chose. You don't have to like my list, but I don't have to like the same things as you. So feel free to let me know what you would have done, what you would have changed up in the comments down below. But before we get to that, a word from our sponsors, because I'm contractually obligated to show you guys this ad. Can't use ad block on this one. I mean, I guess you could skip forward 55 seconds, but sponsors probably wouldn't like that. Don't do that. Are you tired of getting weird looks when you tell people that you love My Little Pony? Wouldn't it be great if your partner was also a Brony or Pegasister? I wanted to share one of my recent discoveries. BronyMate is a dating site made specifically for fans of My Little Pony. The site has been around for years and thousands of members have already joined. I have already started chatting and meeting people from the site. How cool is that? It's a well-known fact that people who share interests are more compatible. On BronyMate, you can meet bronies and Pegasisters, search for people near you, send and receive private messages, instant chat, add friends, and browse profiles. Best of all, BronyMate is 100% free to join. It's a great friendly place to meet friends or find a relationship. Get shipped at BronyMate.com, where magical relationships begin. Be 20% cooler. Join BronyMate.com now. See you there. And we're back. I guess. Are you still there? Just to suffer. Anyways, let's get on with the list. Number 10, Mr. and Mrs. Cake. So this one is so low on the list despite being probably the most long-running one that we've had day-to-day contact with, because let's face it, Mrs. Cake totally was cheating on Mr. Cake here. That scene was extremely awkward for anyone above the age of 15. I'm not sure why they left it in the show. I don't know who greenlit that. But despite that infidelity, they do seem to have a strong bond. They work together every day, and they both have to deal with Pinkie Pie, who's probably both a blessing and a curse, all wrapped up in one. We've seen them comfort each other through their highs and their lows. Mr. Cake has always been there for Mrs. Cake, and vice versa. The show has made it apparent that these two really do care about each other, and that's probably something that should be shown in the kids' show. That marriage should be filled with love. We do make a lot of jokes about how marriage is awful, and sometimes it is. If it's a bad marriage, leave. But marriage can be fine. If you do truly care about someone, it's nice to see that not all marriages are horrible. And not all couples are constantly fighting. Number 9, Twilight and Timber. Yes, there are gonna be a few on here that you guys probably hate, and that's fine. I don't particularly like, as in enjoy these ships personally, but these are pretty obviously being forced in the Quest for Thrones movie. Besides why it's supposed to be with Timber, or at least that's where they're heading. The only problem is this Timber guy seems to be drastically older than being a teenager, and that's a little bit weird to me. I'm not exactly sure why they're pushing this angle, but Timber isn't exactly portrayed as being another high schooler. He's portrayed as being in his mid to early 20s. He runs the camp with his sister full time, so he's not exactly going to classes. Not only that, he's not exactly local either. So why they set Twilight up with him is beyond me. Why she needs a love interest at all is beyond me, but it is something that's apparently being done, and it is somewhat cute in a little bit creepy way of, oh man, that's adorable, can I see his ID please? Number 8, Twilight and Flash. So it seems like Pony Princess Twilight is shipped with Flash, or was at least, Come on, it's pretty obvious despite how much we hated, the show is kind of forcing it down our throats. And as well, we know we don't like Flash because blah 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 blah, bland character. The real reason is because he's stealing your waifu. Let's be honest, you only hate him because he's stealing your waifu. I don't even like Twilight, and I don't like the fact that he's apparently the love interest of Twilight. I feel like it's forced, and it is kind of forced. But even then, there's a genuine love that seems to be blossoming between him and Twilight, or was at least. He did really seem to care about her, and did go out of his way to try to help her. That's not something a lot of people would do, especially when they find out that this Twilight is like an interdimensional pony princess. That's usually a deal breaker for a lot of people if the person they're interested isn't even the same species. So the fact that he stuck around, that says a lot. I'm not sure if what it's saying is good or bad, but it certainly is saying a lot of it. At least this one is the same age. Number 7, Sunset Shimmer and Flash Century. So we're getting all the most horrible ones out of the way first. Sunset Shimmer obviously was a horrible person who treated Flash horribly. But in those times where Sunset was treating him horribly, he still stuck around. He still tried to change her. That is commitment. There are moments where you're going to have to work through a relationship, where it would be easy to walk away. As much as we like to joke about Flash being horrible, he seems to be a genuinely good-hearted person. And apparently after the Vincent Camp Everfree, it seems like they do still have somewhat of a spark. It seems to be forming into a love triangle, which is getting pretty complex for a kid/tween movie. Number 6, Cheerilee and Big Mac. So this one is forced, as in literally it was forced by the CMC. But it was adorable while it was going on. They were so madly in love with each other. Apparently not enough to have sex, but I guess that would make it very awkward in a kid's show to depict that. And love is more than just sex.
What are you, fucking gay?
And while the ship was forced, there does seem to be a little bit of chemistry at least, as afterwards they were teasing the CMC together and they did genuinely seem to enjoy each other's company. I don't think we're gonna see Hasbro pushing that anytime soon, but it was something that was interesting to watch unfold. Number 5, Marble and Big Mac. This one is a little bit more canon-ish. Obviously they were once again paired together by a third party, and it was Pinkie Pie this time. But they're both quiet, shy individuals. And, you know, it does kind of fit. They're both hardworking farm ponies. While Marble farms rock and Big Mac farms apples, they're still essentially farmers. The shyness of the two is adorable. The slight blush she gets when she's paired up with him is adorable as well. Marble is just one of those shy characters that people gravitate to. Just like Coco Pamel. A lot of people in the fandom seem to enjoy her, and I can't blame them. Number 4, Cadence and Shining Armor. This one is a turbulent romance. It was kind of thrust upon us just out of nowhere. We never really saw a Shining Armor before. In fact, we never saw him at all. He was never talked about. You would think the Royal Guard captain would be spoken about, at least in passing by Celestia, or that Twilight on occasion would ask how he's doing, or maybe even visit him. It was clearly a last-minute character put in to fit with the story plot. Why the relationship to Twilight? Well, I guess that makes it more reasonable for why she's being invited, but it is a little bit weird that she doesn't even know that Cadence is dating Shining Armor until the day they're being married. Despite that, their love was proven by using their love to literally shoot death beams at Chrysalis. If that doesn't show true love, then I don't know what does. Number 3, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet. Yes, the couple responsible for creating our adorable little Twilight nerdle. The fact that good, clean, merry sex is a tag on Derpy Buru shows how messed up this fandom is. I love it. But these two obviously don't get a lot of screen time. They're very rarely mentioned, if at all. You would think the people who literally raised Twilight would at least get a couple of lines in some of the most significant scenes of her life, but no, not really. We don't even see them visit ever. In fact, it's pretty commonly believed that Twilight lived in the castle 24/7, so essentially she was raised more by Celestia than her parents. But these two had to have loved each other. It probably was not easy to deal with Twilight Sparkle growing up. If we see what Pound Cake and Pumpkin Pie do when they have their little magical surges, then I can't imagine what Twilight was doing. To be fair, I guess it would make sense to give it to a goddess. That's probably the only thing that could contain her. Number 2, Pinkie and Cheese Sandwich. So everyone compares Pinkie to Weird Al to begin with, but the fact that he actually voiced the character in the show is amazing. I remember the fandom flipping its lid when this happened, and this instantly became a ship. And let's face it, this is just like the Marble Pie and the Big Mac. This ship actually makes sense. It's two party planning ponies who are both flamboyant, energetic. They're just all about having a good time and taking care of the ones that they love. The shipping part wasn't too heavy, but it was definitely an undertone there, and probably perceived by a lot of the adults viewing the cartoon as these two totally should be a thing. Whether or not that ever actually happens, because I don't see Weird Al coming back to voice Cheese Sandwich too often, and he would need to be there quite often if she's gonna have a canon boyfriend. So the chances of this really happening is slim. It's probably something that if it does happen would only be mentioned in the comics. I remember when the show staff did troll us by saying one of the main 6 do in fact get a boyfriend, and it would be Pinkie Pie, and I'm not sure if this is what they meant by that, or if they were just 100% trolling us the entire time. Number 1, Lyra and Bonbon. Okay, I mean, I get these two are really good, really good friends, but we all know what that translates into. Scissor partners. You know, when they're doing crafts and things like that. Lyra does run a bakery, and she probably has all kinds of posters that need to be done and etc. But these two are obviously supposed to be hinted at being a couple. I don't know if that was a bone just simply thrown to the fandom, because episode 100 was the Panda Rings episode. And there was obviously a lot of scenes that were them being really good friends, an entire spiel about it. But it was obviously apparent that these two are hinted at least as being more than just friends. Now, would they ever come out and canonly state that these two characters are in fact lesbians? Probably not. I doubt that would ever happen. I don't see a reason for it to ever happen. It would have to happen if it did organically and not forcibly. These aren't main characters. We don't see interactions with these characters often. These are characters that if we do have an extended dialogue, it would have to be part of a main story arc relating to the main 6, and a point where that comes up doesn't seem likely. Well, that's gonna do it for my list. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a little bit unscripted, or pretty much fully unscripted except for the list itself. And you know, I occasionally will do this, probably not too often. I do like to write out at least a little bit notes so I can make it more structured, but hopefully it wasn't too bad for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. So it's been Faith and Moliminous. Let me know what you guys thought down below, and I'll see you guys in whatever I make next. Bye. Once again, we really like to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Brony Made. Links are in the description. Once again, thank you very much, Brony Made, for sponsoring this episode.